The great hall of the Galactic Council was silent. 12 species had gathered here for 300 years to keep peace among the stars. They had built something beautiful together. No wars, no death, no suffering. Elder Vorin, the head of the council, stood at the center and looked at the faces around him. Today they would vote on something important. A new species wishes to join us, Vorin said. His voice was old and tired. They call themselves humans. They come from a small blue planet called Earth. The delegates looked at each other. New species joined the council every few decades. It was not unusual. But Ambassador Lisa stood up from her seat. Her 4 eyes were wide with worry. I have studied these humans, Lisa said. The council must see what I have found. She pressed a button, and images appeared in the air above them. The delegates watched. At first, they did not understand what they were seeing. The images showed humans hunting, but they did not hunt like normal creatures. They did not hide and wait. They did not use poison or traps. They simply followed their prey. They walked after animals for days without stopping. They walked until the animals collapsed from exhaustion. Then they killed them with rocks and sticks. They are persistence predators, Lisa's explained. They do not need to be fast. They do not need to be strong. They simply never stop. The images changed. Now the delegates saw ice. Endless ice covering the human planet. Other species would have died. Other species would have given up. But the humans wrapped themselves in animal skins and kept walking. They ate anything they could find. They survived. Their planet tried to kill them many times. Lisa's continued. Ice ages, volcanic eruptions, disease. They survived everything. The images changed again. Now the delegates saw a war. Human war was not like the small conflicts other species sometimes had. Human war was something else entirely. The delegates watched humans build weapons that could destroy entire cities in seconds. They watched humans march millions of soldiers into battle. They watched humans dig trenches and live in mud and blood for years without surrendering. They did this to each other, Lisa said quietly. These are not wars against aliens. These are wars between humans. Elder Vorin felt sick. He had lived for 400 years. He had never seen anything like this. The images showed more. Humans setting fire to their own cities so enemies could not use them. Humans flying planes into enemy ships on purpose, killing themselves to hurt their opponents. Humans building enough weapons to destroy their own world 10 times over. And then the images showed something else. Humans pulling strangers from burning buildings. Humans giving food to enemies who had surrendered. Humans crossing dangerous territory to save people they had never met. They are capable of great cruelty, Lisa said, but also great kindness. They form emotional bonds with anything. Other humans, animals, even machines. Once they decide something is theirs to protect, they will die for it. The council chamber was completely silent. One proposed a new doctrine, Lisa's announced. We will allow humans to join the council. They can trade with us. They can explore with us. But there is one rule that must never be broken. She looked around at every delegate in the room. No member species may ever involve humans in any military conflict. Not as allies. Not as enemies. Not as mercenaries. Not even as advisors. We have seen what they do to each other. We cannot imagine what they might do to us. The vote was unanimous. Every species agreed. The human warning doctrine became law. Far away on Earth, Admiral Juno received the message. He was an old soldier with gray hair and kind eyes. He had fought in 3 wars before humanity reached the stars. He had seen friends die. He had buried his own son. He read the terms of the council's offer carefully. Humanity could join. Humanity could trade and explore. But humanity must never fight. June laughed softly to himself. The aliens thought they were protecting themselves. They thought they were being smart. But June understood something they did not. Humans did not start wars because they wanted to. Humans started wars because they had to. Because someone threatened their families. Because someone hurt their friends. because someone, somewhere, did something so evil that humans could not look away. The galaxy had been at peace for 300 years. The other species had forgotten what war was. They had become soft. They had become weak. They thought peace would last forever. June knew better. Peace never lasted forever. Somewhere out there, something would go wrong. Someone would get greedy. Someone would get cruel. And when that happened, the peaceful species of the Council would not know what to do. He signed the agreement and sent it back to the Council. Humanity was now a member of the galactic community. Human ships would travel the stars. Human traders would visit alien worlds. Human scientists would study alien life, and human soldiers would wait. June walked to his window and looked up at the night sky. Somewhere out there, the Council was celebrating. They thought they had solved a problem. They thought the doctrine would keep them safe. "You don't understand," June whispered to the stars. "You didn't make that rule to protect yourselves from us. You made it to protect yourselves from finding out what we can do." He turned off the lights and went to bed. Tomorrow, humanity would begin its new life among the stars. June hoped the peace would last. He hoped the other species would never need human help. But hope was not a strategy. And somewhere in his old soldier's heart, June knew the truth. War was coming. It always did. And when it arrived, humanity would be ready. The galaxy had no idea what it had just invited into its family. 18 months passed. Humanity settled into its new role among the stars. Human traders visited alien markets. Human scientists studied alien plants and animals. Human children grew up dreaming of distant worlds. Everything was peaceful. Then the Torvak came. Warlord Kreth was not like the other aliens in the Council. His people were warriors. They had claws and thick skin and teeth made for tearing meat. For 300 years, the Council had forced them to be peaceful. Kreth hated every moment of it. He stood on his warship and looked at the stars. His people were dying inside. Warriors needed war. Without it, they became angry and lost. Young Torvak fought each other in the streets. Old Torvak drank themselves to death. The peace was killing them. "Enough," Kreth said. "We take what we need." The Torvak fleet moved toward the Kelos system. The Melvari lived there. They were gentle creatures with soft blue skin and large eyes. They grew food on their planets and shared it with everyone. They had no weapons. They had no soldiers. They had never hurt anyone. They never saw the attack coming. The Torvak ships appeared in their sky without warning. Bombs fell on their cities. Soldiers landed in their fields. The Melvari tried to run, but there was nowhere to go. In 3 days, the Torvak conquered 3 planets. Elder Vorin called an emergency meeting of the Council. The delegates gathered quickly. Everyone was scared. The Torvak had broken the peace, Vorin announced. "They have attacked the Melvari. We must respond." The delegates looked at each other. They talked for hours. They sent angry messages to Warlord Kreth. They offered to negotiate. They threatened to stop trading with the Torvak, but no one offered to fight. None of them knew how anymore. Dr. Soman Beek watched the meeting from the human section of the Council station. She was a young scientist with short black hair and sharp eyes. She had come here to study alien cultures. Now, she was watching one be destroyed. The images from Kelos broke her heart. Melvari children crying in the ruins of their homes. Melvari elders being dragged away by Torvak soldiers. Melvari families crowded onto refugee ships with nothing but the clothes on their backs. Salman remembered something. 60 years ago, during the Belt War, human refugees had fled to Melvari space. The Melvaria had welcomed them. They had given them food and shelter. They had saved thousands of human lives. Earth owed them a debt, so Min sent a secret message to Admiral Juno on Earth. She told him what was happening. She told him about the refugees. She asked if humanity would help June read her message 3 times. The doctrine was clear. Humans could not get involved in military conflicts. If he sent ships, the Council would punish Earth. Other species might turn against them, but on those refugee ships, there were children. June was an old man now. He had seen too much death in his life. He had made too many hard choices. He was tired of watching innocent people suffer. He called Captain Minho Park. Minho was 35 years old, the commander of the carrier Horizon. He was calm and clever and absolutely fearless. Captain June said, "You are going to deliver humanitarian supplies to the Kelos system? Food, medicine, nothing military?" Minho understood immediately. "And if someone attacks our supply convoy, sir, then you defend yourself, Captain. That is your right under galactic law." Minho smiled. It was not a happy smile. "Understood, Admiral." The Horizon and 12 escort ships left Earth orbit that night. They carried food and medicine, just as June had said. But they also carried weapons, missiles, plasma cannons, fighters, everything a military fleet would need. On the council station, Soman watched them go. She had started something dangerous. She knew that. The council would be furious. The doctrine would be broken. But she thought about those Melvari children. She thought about the debt humanity owed. Some things were more important than rules. Meanwhile, Warlord Kreth received reports about the human convoy. He laughed when he read them. "Humans," he said to his generals. "Small creatures with soft skin. They think they can challenge us?" General Barros nodded. "They are newcomers. Their fleet is tiny. Should I send ships to turn them back?" Kreth waved his claw. "Send one cruiser. That will be enough. Show them who rules this space now." The Torvat cruiser changed course to intercept the human convoy. Its captain was confident. He had conquered 3 planets. One small fleet of humans would be easy. He had no idea what was coming. Across the galaxy, species watched and waited. Everyone expected the humans to run. Everyone expected them to back down. The doctrine existed for a reason. Humans were supposed to stay out of wars, but the humans kept flying toward Kelos. Lieutenant Hannah Yoon stood on the bridge of the Horizon and watched the Torvat cruiser approach on her screen. She was the tactical officer. It was her job to plan the battle. "Captain," she said to Minho, "they're sending only one ship." Minho nodded slowly. "They don't know what we are yet." Anna smiled. "Should we teach them?" "Yes," Minho said. "I think we should." The first battle between humans and Torvak was about to begin, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Torvat cruiser moved closer. Its captain sent a message to the human fleet. "Turn back," he said. "This space belongs to the Torvak Empire now. Leave or be destroyed." Captain Minho Park listened to the message calmly. Then he looked at Lieutenant Hannah Yoon. "Options?" he asked. Hannah had been studying the Torvak for months. She knew how they fought. They were aggressive, direct. They always attacked head-on with maximum force. They had never faced an enemy who fought differently. "There's an asteroid field nearby," Hannah said. "We retreat toward it. Make them think we're scared. When they follow us inside, our hidden frigates will be waiting." Minho nodded. "Do it." The human fleet turned and ran. The Torvat captain laughed. Just as he expected. Humans were cowards. He ordered his ship to chase them. The asteroid field was dark and dangerous. Rocks floated everywhere, some as big as mountains. The Torvat cruiser followed the human ships. Deep inside. Then 3 human frigates appeared from behind the asteroids. The battle lasted for minutes. The Torvat captain never had a chance. Human missiles hit his ship from 3 directions. Human fighters flew circles around his slow cruiser. When he tried to retreat, the asteroids blocked his path. His ship exploded in a ball of fire. There were no survivors. General Barros received the news on Kelos 4. He stared at the report for a long time. 1 cruiser destroyed in 4 minutes? That was not possible. Humans were weak. Humans were new to space. "Send 12 ships," Barros ordered. "Destroy them all." The Torvak battle group moved to intercept the human fleet. 12 warships against 13 human vessels. The Torvak were confident. Numbers were close to equal, and Torvak ships were bigger and stronger. What followed became known as the Kelos, Corridor Massacre Hannah Yoon coordinated the battle from the Horizons Bridge. She gave orders faster than the Torvak could react. Human ships did not fight in neat formations like other species. They fought as individuals who worked together. Each captain made their own decisions. Each pilot found their own targets. The Torvak tried to concentrate their fire on one human ship at a time, but the human ships kept moving, kept dodging, kept fighting from unexpected angles. When the frigate Dawn was hit and started burning, its crew did not abandon ship. Instead, they flew straight at a Torvak carrier and crashed into it. Both ships died together. When the destroyer Steelwind lost its weapons, its captain rammed a Torvak cruiser at full speed. The collision destroyed both vessels. But the human crew had already escaped in pods. The Torvak had never seen anything like this. Their enemies were supposed to surrender when they were losing. Their enemies were supposed to value their own lives. Humans did not surrender. Humans did not stop. After 6 hours, all 12 Torvak ships were destroyed or disabled. The human fleet had lost 5 ships, but the survivors kept fighting until the last Torvak weapon went silent. General Boros was not laughing anymore while the space battle raged. Something else was happening on Kelos 4. Sergeant Taiho Kong led a small team of human soldiers to the planet's surface. Their mission was simple: rescue Melvari refugees from a camp the Torvak had built. The camp held 5,000 Melvari. 200 Torvak soldiers guarded it. Taiho had only 30 soldiers. "We're outnumbered badly," one of his soldiers said. Taiho checked his rifle. "I know. Let's go." They attacked at night. The Torvak expected enemies to sleep at night. All species needed sleep. But Taiho's team had trained for this. They could fight for 20 hours straight if necessary. The Torvak could not. The battle lasted 16 hours. Every time the Torvak thought they had won, the humans attacked again. Every time the Torvak tried to rest, human soldiers appeared from the darkness. The Torvak grew tired. Their reactions slowed. Their aim became worse. Taiho took a bullet to his leg in the 3rd hour. The bone was broken. Any other species would have stopped fighting. Taiho found a rifle, used it as a splint, wrapped his leg tight, and kept moving. By dawn, the Torvak were finished. Some surrendered. Some ran. The refugees were free. Taiho's team had lost 15 soldiers. Taiho himself could barely stand. But he helped carry Melvari children to the rescue ships. He did not stop until every refugee was safe. Then he collapsed. General Boros sent a message to Warlord Kreth that night. His hands were shaking as he typed. "The humans are not what we expected," he wrote. "They do not fight like other species. They do not stop when they should stop. They do not value their own lives the way we do. I recommend we reconsider our strategy." Kreth read the message and crushed his communicator in his fist. Reconsider? The Torvak did not reconsider. The Torvak did not retreat. "Send everything," Kreth ordered. "Every ship we have. I will destroy these humans myself. It's on the horizon." Captain Minho Park received intelligence about the coming Torvak armada. 600 warships. The largest fleet in galactic history. His own fleet had less than 20 ships left. Hannah stood beside him, looking at the numbers. The situation was impossible. They could not win this fight. "What do we do?" she asked. Minho was quiet for a long time. Then he smiled. "We show them what humans really are," he said. "Get Admiral No on the line. We're going to need everything Earth has." The real war was about to begin. The Galactic Council chamber was in chaos. Elder Vorin stood at the center, trying to maintain order. But the delegates were too angry, too scared, too confused. "The humans have broken the doctrine." One delegate shouted. "They have started a war," cried another. Admiral Juno sat calmly in the human section. He waited until the shouting stopped. Then he stood up slowly. "We did not start anything," he said. His voice was quiet but firm. "We were delivering food to refugees. The Torvak attacked us. We defended ourselves." "You could have retreated," a delegate argued. "We could have," June agreed. "We chose not to. The Melvari helped our people once. We do not forget our debts. Elder Vorin raised his hand for silence. Admiral, you must understand our concern. The doctrine exists to prevent exactly this situation. Human involvement in conflict could destabilize the entire galaxy. June looked at him steadily. The galaxy is already destabilized. The Torvak conquered 3 planets while you sent angry letters. Your peace was an illusion. The only thing keeping it together was that no one was willing to break it. He stepped forward. Now someone has broken it, and you cannot stop them. Your species have forgotten how to fight. You have no armies. You have no weapons. You have nothing but words. The chamber was silent. We have ships, June continued. Not many, but enough. We have soldiers who will fight until their last breath. We have something you lost 300 years ago. What is that? Vorin asked. The will to resist evil, June said simply. Even when it costs us everything. The council did not know how to respond. They voted to censure humanity. They threatened sanctions. But everyone knew the truth. Without humanity, Torvak would conquer the galaxy one system at a time. The sanctions were quietly forgotten. Meanwhile, something unexpected began to happen. The Rendari, a species known for their fuel technology, sent a message to Earth. We cannot fight, they said. We have no weapons, but we can give you fuel, as much as you need, free of charge. The Kasori, famous for their medical knowledge, offered the same. Our doctors will treat your wounded. Our hospitals are open to any human soldier. One by one, species across the galaxy began supporting humanity, not with ships. They had none, not with soldiers. They had forgotten how to train them. But with everything else they could give, food, supplies, information. Dr. Salman watched this happening from the council station. She was crying, but they were happy tears. They can't fight, she said to herself. They've forgotten how, but they remember how to hope. On Earth, reinforcements were gathering. Every ship that could fly, every soldier who could hold a rifle. Admiral Juno was emptying the planet's defenses to send them to Kelos. Captain Minho Park received the news on the horizon. Help was coming, but it would take time to arrive. And the Torvak Armada was already moving, 600 warships. Against his remaining 18, need to slow them down, Minho said. By time for reinforcements, Hannah Yoon studied the star maps. The Torvak fleet would have to pass through a narrow region of space called Shattered Reach. It was full of debris from an ancient battle, dangerous to navigate, perfect for an ambush. Can't beat them there, Hannah admitted. But we can hurt them, make them afraid, make them careful. How long can we hold them? Hannah calculated. 3 days, maybe 4. If we're willing to lose everything. Minho looked at his crew. These were people he had served with for years. Friends, family. He was asking them to die. What do you think? He asked them. Lieutenant Hannah spoke first. I didn't join the fleet to live forever. I joined to protect people who couldn't protect themselves. He should have been in a hospital bed. Instead, he was on the bridge, his leg wrapped in bandages. Those Malveri children, Taiho said. They looked at us like we were heroes. I want to be worthy of that look. One by one, every crew member agreed. They knew they might not survive. They were going anyway. Minho felt pride burning in his chest. This was humanity. This was what they were, not the violence, not the destruction. This willingness to sacrifice everything for people they barely knew. Send a message to the fleet, Minho ordered. Tell them we're going to Shattered Reach. Tell them what we're planning. He paused. And tell them anyone who doesn't want to come can leave now. No shame, no punishment. This is a choice. Not a single ship left. Far away, Warlord Kreth received reports about the human movements. His spies told him the humans were heading to Shattered Reach. His spies also told him something else. Other species were helping the humans. Giving them supplies? Sharing information about Torvak fleet positions? Kreth was furious. The galaxy had been afraid of him for months. Now they were finding courage, and it was because of these humans. These small, soft creatures who should have been easy to crush. They don't understand, Kreth growled. They think one small species can change everything. General Barrow stood nearby. He had fought the humans at Kellos. He knew something his warlord did not. Esser Barrows said carefully, "Perhaps we should be cautious. The humans are different." "Different how?" Barrows struggled to explain. "They don't surrender. They don't retreat. When they're wounded, they keep fighting. When their ships are destroyed, they crash them into us on purpose. They fight like they have nothing to lose." Kreth laughed. "Then we will teach them what loss truly means." He gave the order. The Torvak Armada jumped to light speed. 600 ships heading for Shattered Reach. On the horizon, Minho watched them coming. The largest fleet in galactic history. Coming to destroy everything he loved. "Hannah," he said quietly, "how familiar are you with the concept of total war?" Hannah smiled. It was not a kind smile. "I wrote my thesis on it, sir." "Would you like me to give the Torvak a demonstration?" "Please do. The 3 days of fire were about to begin." Shattered Reach was a graveyard. Millions of years ago, 2 fleets had destroyed each other here. Their wreckage still floated in the darkness. Twisted metal, broken hulls. The bones of ships that had died fighting. Now new ships came to join them. The Torvak Armada entered Shattered Reach on the first morning. 600 warships. Enough firepower to conquer a dozen worlds. Warlord Kreth stood on his flagship and smiled. The humans had only 30 ships now. This would be easy. He was wrong. The first Torvak ship exploded without warning. Then another. Then 10 more. The humans had hidden mines among the ancient wreckage. Bombs that looked like rocks. Traps that waited in the darkness. The Torvaks slowed down. They started moving carefully. That was exactly what Minho wanted. "Phase 2, he ordered. Human fighters launched from the horizon. Small ships with single pilots. They flew into the wreckage and disappeared. The Torvak could not find them, but the humans could find the Torvak. All day, human fighters attacked from the shadows. They hit Torvak ships and vanished. They destroyed engines and sensors and weapons. They never stayed in one place long enough to be caught. The Torvak could not use their superior numbers. The wreckage was too thick. They had to move in small groups, and small groups could be defeated by sunset. The Torvak had lost 40 ships. The humans had lost 8. Kreth was not smiling anymore. On the second day, Hannah Yoon tried something new. The Torvak use standard military codes, she explained, but humans have something they've never seen. Culture. She sent false orders to Torvak ships using poetry, old Korean verses that meant nothing to military computers. Human pilots understood immediately. They coordinated attacks using song lyrics and jokes. The Torvak intercepted the messages, but could not decode them. A Torvak captain received orders that sounded like nonsense. The moon rises over still water. Strike when the crane takes flight. He ignored it. Minutes later, human ships attacked his position from the direction of a nearby moon. The Torvak tried to adapt, but human culture was too complex. Too strange. They could not predict what humans would do next. By the end of the second day, the Torvak had lost 120 ships. The humans had lost 15. Reinforcements from Earth were only hours away. Warlord Kreth was desperate. He ordered a direct attack on the horizon. 50 ships broke through the wreckage and charged straight at Minho's fleet. The battle that followed was brutal. Human ships that were too damaged to fight flew into Torvak vessels on purpose. Pilots who ran out of missiles used their ships as weapons. When escape pods launched, humans would often fly them toward Torvak ships and detonate their own fuel supplies. "Captain," Minho Park stood on his bridge as explosions lit up the darkness around him. His ship was damaged. His crew was exhausted, but they kept fighting. "Sir," Hannah said, "the Torvak flagship is exposed. Their formation has broken." Minho saw it. Kreth's ship was vulnerable. If they could reach it, they could end the war. "Get Sergeant Taiho," Minho ordered. "I have a job for him." Taiho Kong should not have been able to walk. His leg was broken in 3 places. He had been shot twice in the past 3 days. Any normal person would have been unconscious. Taiho is not a normal person. He led a boarding team of 20 soldiers onto a transport ship. They flew through the chaos of battle toward Kreth's flagship. Torvak fighters tried to stop them. Human fighters protected them. Ships died on both sides. The transport crashed into Kreth's ship and locked on. Taiho's team cut through the hull and entered. Inside, 200 Torvak soldiers waited for them. The fighting was terrible. The Torvak were bigger, stronger, better armored. But humans were something else. Humans were the children of predators who had chased prey across frozen continents. Humans were survivors of a world that had tried to kill them for millions of years. Taiho's team fought through corridors filled with smoke and blood. They lost soldiers at every turn. But they kept moving forward. After 6 hours, only Taiho and 2 others reached the command center. Warlord Kreth was waiting for them. He was massive, 3 meters tall. Covered in natural armor, his claws could cut through metal. He had killed hundreds of enemies in personal combat. Little human Kreth laughed. You think you can challenge me? Taiho's rifle was empty. His pistol was broken. He had only a knife. He attacked anyway. The fight lasted 2.5 minutes. It was not elegant. It was not beautiful. It was 2 creatures trying to kill each other with everything they had. Kreth cut Taiho with his claws. Taiho stabbed Kreth with his knife. They fell to the ground and kept fighting. Taiho hit Kreth with his fists, with his head, with his teeth. He would not stop. He could not stop. Humans were persistence predators. They followed their prey until it collapsed. Cage collapsed first. Taiho stood over him, bleeding from 11 wounds. He could barely see. He could barely breathe. But he reached for the ship's communication system and broadcast on all channels. Warlord Kreth has surrendered. The war is over. Then he fell unconscious. Earth's reinforcements arrived 1 hour later. The surviving Torvak ships retreated. The Battle of Shattered Reach was finished. 1 month later, Elder Vorin addressed the Galactic Council again. We must revise the human warning doctrine, he announced. The chamber was silent. Everyone remembered the 3 days of fire. Everyone had seen the footage of human ships crashing into enemies. Human soldiers fighting with broken bones. Human pilots singing as they flew into death. The new doctrine is simple, Vorin continued. Do not involve humans in your wars. Not because they cannot fight, but because they can, and they will not stop until the war is over, or they are. In the human section, Admiral Juno nodded quietly. Beside him sat Dr. Soman Beek, who was already writing new alliance treaties. Captain Minho Park was planning the rebuilding of Kelos 4. Lieutenant Hannah. Yoon was teaching tactical classes to species who had forgotten how to fight. Sergeant Taiho Kong was in a hospital bed, arguing with doctors who said he needed more rest. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Humans were not monsters. They were not weapons. They were simply people who refused to accept injustice. People who formed bonds with strangers and called them family. People who would cross the stars to protect someone they had never met. The other species had forgotten these things. 300 years of peace had made them soft. But watching humanity fight, watching humanity sacrifice, watching humanity refuse to surrender, something had awakened in them. Hope the Melvari were rebuilding their worlds. The Torvak Empire was falling apart, and species across the galaxy were starting to remember what courage looked like. They had called the doctrine a warning, but it was really a promise. Humanity would fight. Humanity would bleed. Humanity would never stop. Not for glory. Not for conquest. But for anyone who needed them, the galaxy finally understood. And the galaxy was grateful. Elder Vorin finished his speech with words that would be remembered for centuries. Welcome to the stars, humanity. We are glad you are here. On Earth, children looked up at the night sky and dreamed of distant worlds. They did not know about the war. They did not know about the sacrifice. They only knew that somewhere out there the stars were waiting and humanity would answer.